welcome to Grit and Ground. We bring you different types of movement through guest experts from the local scene as they share their insights, their passion, and how they find their balance.
Hey, this is Car, and co-hosting with me is Joy, and you all know already Ned, our sound engineer, who has also added a new skill to his game through his fancy video editing skills. So this is actually the first time that we'll be showing our faces to you guys through a video conference call with our guests, since we're actually recording this in the comfort of our home, since we are facing this pandemic, as you all know, the COVID-19. If you're listening to this episode on Spotify, feel free to check out the video at gritgroundph_ on our IGTV, FB, and YouTube channel. So since everyone is more or less stuck at home, we've seen that a lot are doing different things to keep them sane. One of those would be actually getting into a regular fitness routine and trainers shifting their methods to online classes. Although content has always been there online, I don't know if we feel it's more prominent actually now, especially we got stripped off on the on-ground platform and everything is now focused on the virtual sphere. So anyway, we're super grateful for our two guests who made time today to talk to us about their thoughts on the shift of the fitness industry and other stuff we see going on these days. So just to introduce them, one is the first Filipina Kettlebell Master of Sport and a triple certified steel Mace Flowist. And then the other one is a creator of the hashtag NTSweat, founder of NTSummerEquinox, and a certified holistic wellness coach. So we have Nat Cruz and Nikki Torres. Hey guys!
Hey! Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you so much. I know it's a tough time right now. Thank you for making time. We wanted to know siguro just a brief background of you guys for those who don't know you yet, and your main movement practice.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, so I'm Nikki Torres. My main movement practice is yoga. I started practicing in 2010. Started with Bikram and then evolved to Vinyasa. Took yoga teacher training in 2013. Left my job. I had a job in advertising. Then went full-time in teaching, and from there just evolved to coaching a holistic practice. I see movement not as a fitness regimen. It's always been a very holistic thing for me. Everything is involved, not just your exercise or your diet. And I see everything as like one whole unit that has to be in sync. And so that pretty much is it. That's my background.
I'm Nat Cruz, and if we're going back to the very basics of my movement reference, technically I've been an athlete all my life. I grew up in the swimming team. Hindi naman grew up, lumabas na lumalang kayo. Since grade school to high school, I've been a competitive swimmer. And then during college, I dabbled into about 2-3 years of my life doing boxing. And then eventually discovered the kettlebell. So I've been into the kettlebell sport and training since 2013, and eventually got my first Master of Sport 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. So yes, and now I found my other love, which is steel mix. So to give you an idea, I dance, I flow with the steel mix, and it's something that's been very pivotal for me because it opened up that flow aspect, which I eventually and am still continuing to apply to the kettlebell and movement in general for body weight when it comes to mobility or just movement in general. And that's it. That's what I continue to do, and I continue to be the best in that craft.
That is actually very competitive. When we met, our movement practices were like complete opposites, as in polar opposites. Like I'm so yin, and then I watch her, and then she's like dying from training for Kettlebell, and I'm like, I cannot do that. And I think a bit of her yang rubbed off on me.
So I think if you met me years ago, I would have probably lacked at a yoga practice. I was that type of person because for me, my mantra was always, I would die on that platform until I get my numbers. That was the type of intensity I had back then. And yeah, it wasn't really much of a training session for me unless I'm already dead, quote unquote, passed out. And yeah, just going into a flow mentality state and application to movement was not overnight as well. So eventually that opened up a lot of movement practices for me to explore and appreciate. I never in my life would actually appreciate, I never thought that I would appreciate yoga. But yeah, I think slowly I realized, now I get why they do that. Now I get why that yoga is not just about fitness, but just being. Just being.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
So Nikki,
and if you're like me, and if you're hiding under a rock and you haven't heard of Nat or Nikki, and you're like me, like, okay, who are these? Then you can check out the Nat Cruz on Instagram, and then Nikki Torres on Instagram as well. And Nat is my Mace Bell teacher, and you just go into her Instagram, and what she's talking about is true. I mean, like, you see her lifting kettlebells and then swinging the mace like a man, and I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong, but like, I wish I had like man shoulders too. But, and then in some parts you're swinging it, and then in some parts you're also doing like the down dog. I was like, that's totally cool, because you try to find the balance in those things, right? And then Nikki, I love how you're using socks in your practice, and also just doing that, the core work as well in your flows. And then you share your recipes for whole food eating. Yeah, thank you for, really, for the both of you, for just being so holistic and sharing your daily lives in your practice. And also to Nikki, because, well, one is, I'll shut up in a few cars, sorry. But, because, Nikki also has a podcast, right? The Good, Rude, and the
Partly new.
Yeah, the Good, Rude, and the Partly New. I wanted the part to come from you. So, it's just about the fitness industry here, right? Car, Ned, myself, Nat, and Nikki, and just finding a way to gather and collaborate and just share the goodness and share the good stuff. So thank you, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing past the glamour and all that, because it really is a service industry after all. So I think it's whatever your practice is, it's about getting your message across.
So it's super nice that you guys actually complement each other. Yun nga, as you guys said, parang yin yang, basically yun nga, parang grit and ground. So I guess you guys influenced how each other moves now na as compared to before, right? Yeah, so how are you guys affected now actually, or yung mga kilala nyo in the industry? How are you guys affected now because of this lockdown, because of this pandemic?
Personally, I, like, in a financial sense, my bread and butter isn't teaching anymore. It used to for like how many years? Like 6 years, I guess. 6 years of like my career in teaching. But I've learned to shift so that I'm able to give out more free content. So what I did was I started looking for a different source of income as an income stream so that I don't rely on teaching, because what I wanted to do is to provide more free information. And if I teach more often, I know that I won't be allowed, or I won't have enough time to create content or to like get on Instagram Live and teach free classes. But a lot of our peers or the other coaches that I know have been impacted tremendously by this pandemic, and they were forced to adapt. They were forced to shift from a personal training, a one-on-one face-to-face, or like teaching group classes in an actual setting. They were forced to transfer that online. Yeah. And this has always been, for me, a case of, I would come up to my friends and tell them that you should start to market yourself and let the public know about your work online, and not just rely on word of mouth or just rely on how your studio or your gym is marketing you. And some of them would be, yeah, I know, but it's just really not my thing. And so now, once we got into this like whole quarantine, they were forced to like do that overnight. Yeah. And I know that a lot of them are struggling because they're not used to teaching classes online. And then all of a sudden, everyone is there and everyone's just fighting for eyeballs and attention. Yeah. So it's tough. It's really tough. So I posted this on my Instagram a couple of weeks ago, I think, or maybe a month ago now, that I know a lot of our peers are struggling. And so those who I know who have influence and followers and post free workouts, it would really help to credit your sources, your coaches who taught you, who guided you to in training, or to lead your followers to those who can guide them properly. Because it was like an influx of free fitness content, and everyone was in fashion, travel, because you're all stuck at home. What can I do? So I'll just do workout videos. So those are like a few of the things that I know have like really dramatically changed over the span of a couple of months.
Well, for me, it's the same. Teaching is not my bread and butter, as I still have a day job. But in terms of teaching, I could say that I was highly affected because I'm not the type to go online. The irony is I'm active on social media, but I do not prefer online classes. I know some coaches, like my coach for Kettlebell, he has already established himself in online programming. But for me, introducing the Mace, that was a challenge because I had to buy my own set of Mace. Because not everyone's going to buy the product right away. They need to try it out first. And so I lug around a ton of Maces, and I was already close to having a home gym before the ECQ happened. So it was a challenge for me because, like I said, I really don't prefer online classes, especially with something as complex but simple with a steel mace. It's so new to people. It's such an old tool, but it's so new to people that an impingement is just a wrong swing away. So parang I couldn't risk that. And I strongly believe that the content I put out is a complement lang to the actual physical class. So in terms of the steel mace, yeah, I'm very much affected because I couldn't teach. And then there's that issue now. I do not want to teach online. Yeah. So I try to limit that.
Yeah. So you guys actually mentioned a couple of things that I want to follow up on. So first would be for those who are for the teachers or trainers who are actually shifting their platform online, and maybe it's the first time for them, what would be your, I guess, tips or advice for them to be able to establish themselves online?
I can go first. Yeah. So given that, let's say you're teaching something complex, you'll have to put out a disclaimer that you're narrowing it down to the basics. And I understand some students don't want that because they want to do the cool stuff right away. And I get it. But then you'll have to set their expectations na hindi ka pwedeng lumipad kung hindi ka pa marunong maglakad. It's something as building, it's really more on building the foundations. So that's the challenge, to keep them engaged, but also maintain that level of foundations first, especially if you have new students in your class. Because a lot of people, like what Nikki mentioned, a lot of people are at home and looking for something new to try. So that's always the thing. Yeah, you'll never be able to filter out unless you intentionally say that this is a beginner's class, this is intermediate class. So don't be afraid to explain na parang foundations first, because that will show in your students later on, especially when they start holding something loaded.
Yeah.
For me, Nat went into the details, so I'm gonna fall out a little bit. For those who are starting off teaching classes online, number one, right now, it has to be, they have to focus on the sale of it. So what coaches do kasi, what I notice is that they mix up sales and marketing. And the reason why a lot of them don't like to jump into online, creating content, online, marketing themselves online, is because it doesn't convert into money right away. And there's nothing wrong with that. I understand it completely, because a lot of the coaches make money by the day or like per session, on a per session basis. So for example, us as yoga teachers like Joy, and you, Card, diba? When we teach classes, it's a per class. And if you don't teach a class in a studio, you don't get paid for that. So I understand their concern when they refuse to like consistently put out content online. But that's kasi the marketing part of it. Now they're forced to like do sales and market themselves at the same time online. Kasi the sales part comes into when you start teaching, diba? Or when you start training someone, a personal. But now they have to like do it both at the same time. And it's like, oh my God, it has to convert immediately, because otherwise I won't make any money for this month. So my advice is that focus right now for like this duration of the pandemic, focus on converting your output into sale. So for example, if you started putting out free content and marketing Zoom classes, make sure that you get paid for that. And if you do teach free classes, consider it a free trial thing, and don't make it all of your classes are free. Kasi lugi ka dun eh. It's still a business. And I always tell the coaches right now, don't be ashamed to make money, because this is still a business. And you are, after all, in the service industry. So that's one. And then two, be consistent na with your marketing. Hindi na pwede yung one day magpo-post ka, walang nanonood ng video mo, walang nag-like, and then ayoko na, wala naman kumapansin eh. That's the number one pitfall of all the coaches that I know. They start putting out great content, but no one watches it, and they feel like sayang yung effort nila, when in fact it builds over time. Like for me, I built my brand for like 2014, so like 6 years, and I'm not even like 100K followers. I don't even have a huge fan base or whatever, what they want to call it. But it takes years of consistency, and you have to like show people that this is what I'm about. Because I was telling Nat this pala. A couple of weeks ago, or like last week, diba, we were talking, and then I said, people don't buy classes for programming anymore, which is the sad part for us. Kasi diba nag-aaral tayo, we take certifications and continuing education. But the sad part is people don't buy into the programming, they buy the person. That is also why the downside of it is, that's why when you come out in a sports bra, you have abs, it's so easy for them to buy into that packaging. Yeah. But what you want to sell is you as a character that people can resonate with. So that's one thing that I would like tell people now. Sige, now you're online. Sadly, it's like a cold place. So you can't be like, I care for you as your coach. Hindi na magka-cut yun eh. It's really like first thing they see, are they gonna buy into your product or your service? Yun na siya.
So like building your credibility as well. So you guys mentioned basta foundational yung information that you bring out. Also the consistency that you have to put in because it's not an instant thing. So like yung yung content creators also that we see online, of course you invest a lot of time in the, for example, YouTubers, like the video, it's not an instant thing. So you guys mentioned that na rin, like isn't there do you feel like there's a content saturation right now given na everything is online, and then you mentioned also giving free stuff or more specifically like tips or videos. So what's your view, I guess, on the content saturation part of it, or like something like
let me think. This is a lot.
She's trying to hold back. She's trying to rephrase.
Okay. The content we put out, like what Nikki said, should funnel. So it should provide value and funnel to sales. But it's not that square because sometimes you just want to give out content, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's more of finding that balance of dosing the information that you give out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd like to think that they pay for the teacher. And if you put out, it's a bit of a jab hook for like what Gary Vaynerchuk would say, na how are you going to show nga that you are credible or the aspirational part of it if you don't show it. Kumbaga, you have to, in a sense, promote what the product will look like. And then that's when you like funnel na, I can help you get there. So ganun siya. But I think it's been blown out of proportion because of free content. It has become like a shopping place where people just nitpick or cherry pick on workouts. And the sad part is just search for #fitness. Ang dami mo ng workouts na makikita. Millions. But then what the public can't see is that the coaches, they did it initially to promote their service. Mm-hmm. Now it's becoming like to promote me for sponsorships.
Yeah.
Right? To promote me or to show you that I have abs. Right? So there's already that thin line that it's been crossed. It's been crossed. And the sad part is it's okay to show your workouts because you can have like a Bible of your workouts, a journal of your workouts or whatnot. But the thing is, you cannot be claiming a title that you're not credible at, or you're not certified at, because there is that protection that tells people na, oh, okay, then this person practices due diligence because that person is at this standard. So let's say when you use the term coach loosely, then there's that danger that people will go to you, but then you just wanted that title. Or guru. Na, here's a tip. This guru. A real deal coach is never self-proclaimed guru or expert. Because there's so much more that a teacher can learn. It's always just barely scratching the surface. And then there's that part relaying the information to your students and, I don't know, safely building foundations. And I think that's the sad part of it. Na parang, di na siya nakikita as a material from coaches. It's like for everyone now.
Mm-hmm. So what's your take on, because the other trainers or coaches that I know, or it's a hot topic in a way at some point, I guess, that their livelihood is affected because people are going into the free content lane more than like compared to going to actual trainers. So what's your take on that?
Well, the thing is, okay, so even before naman the whole pandemic, there's always been a concern na amongst the coaches that we know about fitfluencers. So we'll have a term for them, fitfluencers. So they are the ones who are just out there, even sometimes even gathering certificates para lang maging bash proofs sila so they can put out free content. The coaches who spend more time training and actually doing the work have always been concerned about them already. And now that they are forced to be in the same space, which is online, the tension has been much higher. Like I don't know if you also noticed or felt it, but there's like a collected energy in the industry wherein parang we feel stressed out, we feel like, ano ba to? Bakit sila naglalabas ng ganito or yung ganyan, diba? So there's that. But I think that this will also parang at some point get old. Like with the influencer industry, diba? Parang nung nagsimula yung blogging, and I'm coming from like an advertising standpoint, when blogging became a thing and bloggers started monetizing their influence, people didn't know that yet. So their readers didn't know that these bloggers started making money out of sponsored posts or paid postings. But the same, parang when it blew up, it moved from the blog to social media, which is Instagram now. Mostly the sponsored posts are on Instagram or YouTube. Mm-hmm. So brands would pay them to feature their products, sometimes to even say specific things about their products. And that's been the goal. And then after a while, nalaman na ng mga tao, na-realize na nila na, wait lang, maniniwala pa ba ako dito? Kasi hindi na, dayad naman to eh. Diba? So now the doubt started to come in. Yeah. And I think it's like the whole 2 months that we are in quarantine, parang it's like a super saturated version or like condensed version of that whole evolution of social media influence or blogging. Kasi nag-spike siya eh. Sobrang laki ng spike that people saw it na, oh my God, ang dami ng free fitness content. So in the beginning, like the first couple of weeks, people were like, yes, I'm gonna go get fit. I'm stuck at home. I have much time. So I'm gonna go and get fit. But when they start to realize, sobrang dami. So they meron ng, ano yung, what's that paralysis?
Analysis
paralysis.
Not even that. But when there's just so much to choose from, but you just don't want to choose.
Decision fatigue.
It's like decision fatigue, which I always get when I enter a Forever 21 store. Na parang ang ending na, sobrang dami. Wala akong nabili. Yeah, I end up not buying anything. So it's gonna be like that. To me, this is like how I see it dipping. Yeah. Na parang they're gonna see, wait lang, so ang dami, ganito na ako maniniwala. And then those who are ready to like, okay, we're here. We're just waiting for you to realize that we're all gonna be there. So this is also a bit of like a positive, optimistic mindset. Mm-hmm. But alam mo yun, where people are not, our audience or the people who follow us are not dumb. They're gonna see through what's real, what is really service-oriented, what is done with integrity. So they're gonna see through all of that. And yun nga, I always tell Nat, it's okay, we get stressed some days, but then it's fine because the cream will always rise to the top. Mm. So it's just a matter of time for me.
So I just want to like condense kasi feeling ko, tinatry kong sagutin yung question. So what can we do as coaches or what's our stand on it? You can choose to play the game. Okay? If you're a coach, you can choose to play the game, which is building your following, posting content. You can still post free content. I think that's my take on it. Kasi there's always going to be a joker. You get it? There's always going to be a joker in the scene. And you cannot stop for that joker.
The Joker of Batman, or
even if I love the Joker, there's always gonna be the Joker that's going to, just disrupt in a negative way. Okay. So parang you have to understand that as a coach, just keep doing what you're doing and be consistent with it.
Yes.
And then for the public, it's best kasi since hindi nga natin control kung sino yung papasok, right? But for the public, follow your coach first. Right? Get to know your coach because fitness is such a small part of movement, right? And movement is such a small part of health and wellness in general. So you're more of looking for a teacher that you are going to stick to. Na you can have a different set of skills, but when it comes to having a teacher, you can only have so much. There are philosophies that you may want to follow. Na parang, what if this teaching style doesn't resonate with you? Like, let's say you're looking for a boxing teacher. Marami, diba? But maybe there are some skill sets na mas prefer mo for a coach. Or baka gusto mo, simple as baka gusto mo lalaki, or gusto mo babae, or gusto mo ini-integrate niya yung battle rope. So there are so many layers to it that you can't stop for anyone. Because at the end of the day, it's your craft. And you have to continue what you love doing. Because that will resonate, that will show throughout your content.
Would you say,
and eventually through your clients.
Okay. Would you say that parang yun din yung advice that you would give to those who are experiencing that analysis paralysis? Kasi ako, to be honest, personally, I tend to like research a lot and read a lot of books and all that just to, get a holistic view of everything. But then I realized like, diba, there's a surge of online courses then right now. So parang you have to choose which one will resonate with you. But at the same time, science itself is always changing, right? And then at the same time, there's politics behind those who conduct the studies and the research. So parang very overwhelming lang lahat. So what would be your advice or tips on combating that analysis paralysis state, or knowing what info you should be sticking with, at least for now?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Because in terms of learning, I call it process of learning via triangulation. So
what a nerd!
No, I get it. Okay, you look for, let's say I'm into flow. I'm gonna look for everything flow, and I'm gonna, triangulate stuff. Why does this work? Why does this not work? And it's costly, It's costly because you have to buy workshops, courses. And then you're in that state na, wait, sabi niya ganito. Yeah, exactly. So, I get where you're coming from because you're trying to, you're trying to connect the dots.
Yeah.
Right? You're trying to connect the dots. You want to have full grasp of that information.
Big picture.
And it takes time because even it's a learning process, and I think when we feel like we need to figure it out right away, dun nasa-stress, dun tayo nagkaka-analysis paralysis. Because I totally get where you're coming from. Just try to siguro narrow it down to the things that may resonate with you. Because if you have all the money in the world, by all means, sige, kunin mo lahat, right? Yeah. But then, yun nga, you only have then so much time to connect the dots.
And so, it's usually a trial and error process, right? I mean, like you try it out. Okay, I didn't like that, or that hurt, right? And then you try another thing out.
True. Because sometimes you need to go deep into the rabbit hole to understand it, diba? And it takes time. So it's more of, gusto ko ba itong aralin? Or no? Do I want to drink the Kool-Aid of this? Or no? So it really, basically my answer is, I don't know. But yeah. I want you to learn how to think for yourself. If you're a coach out there looking for your style, maybe start with what you love doing. Or check your feed. Tingnan mo yung pattern, yung mas gusto mo talagang pinopost. And then go from there.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of mindfulness on the part of being a coach, isn't it? Because one is, because if you want to take on the title of, a fitness expert or being a coach who gives out fitness advice, right? You have to think about just really, all the stuff that you're dishing out and that could potentially harm people.
Yes.
And also saying that, okay, I'm giving out, just like what you said, I'm giving out this free stuff, but right, but I want to advertise myself or market and have gain sponsorships, but then am I teaching them to do the headstand on the first day? So
Right.
warming up, right? Like, look at me, this headstand, learn the headstand,
Yeah.
Parang it's a lot of mindfulness on the part of the coach to be responsible, really just a responsible person, right? Like if you were watching that for the first time, I don't want to learn that. So it's the coach really putting yourself in the person of a novice or a newbie, right? And the person trying to learn new stuff and just, I guess, being mindful also in the part that listen to what feels good and what is good or not good for you, and knowing that there are just some people out there who may teach you not good stuff for you, may work for other people, but not for you.
Great.
So thanks for highlighting that.
Yeah. So basically, find what resonates with you and try not to feel like you have to rush into things. So just take your time. Okay. I just like to go back just a bit. What you mentioned then a while ago. In terms of, I think, recommending to people yung right coaches to go to. But my question would be actually on, is there parang an etiquette in a way online na because someone asked me this, if you have to credit someone, like for example, you saw a workout of someone online and then you have to credit them. So what are the boundaries or parameters for that kind of question?
Well,
No.
there's no handbook on it, right? There's no handbook on it. Only those who are certified by like big organizations actually know that there are things as such a scope of work, right? But then sometimes that is not even followed, right?
So I think it really just depends on the person, and we've been discussing this a lot, and we would always say that us as professionals have to start with ourselves within the industry and not even involved influencers or the market or like the audience yet. Just us within ourselves, we have to see it as an ecosystem. So for example, ako, I joined Gilbert's Animal Flow class. And then after that, I learned this flow and I incorporated it into a flow that I will post on Instagram. I have no shame in saying that I learned this from Gilbert. And that's because part of being a coach is to continuously learn and to keep studying. And part of that is learning from other people. And I think this is where the ego comes in kasi. Like a lot of coaches have so much ego na parang, hindi, I already know everything. Ako na yung best dito. When in fact, it's such a broad subject, just fitness and movement and even nutrition. Let's not even get into nutrition. We all have different practices. We all have different beliefs. And so there's no shame. And for me, there's no shame in saying na, oh, I learned how to do a pull-up from Chapi Calienta. I learned how to do a snatch with a kettlebell from my girlfriend. Or I learned from my girlfriend's coach, diba? So parang when people see that and then they know that you acknowledge that there are weaknesses in your practice and you're also trying to learn to become better, they gain a new level of respect for you because they know that she's not a know-it-all, diba? Or he's not a know-it-all. Na parang you're also human. That humanizes your brand and that humanizes you as a coach. And then they also gain this respect for our industry because parang when they want to learn more about using the kettlebell, now they understand that I have to go to a kettlebell. So I have to go to someone who specializes in teaching how to use a kettlebell. Or I have to look for Nat Cruz because I want to learn how to flow with the Mace, diba? Not everyone who picks up something is an expert at it. And also not everyone who moves good is a good teacher. So, ang dami kong students na sobrang ganda ng practice. Pag pinanood mo sila, mas maganda pa rin yung practice nila. But they also admit that they can't teach because teaching and practice is very different, di ba? So yun, I think there's no shame. There's no shame in crediting. But when you get out of the industry, doon na parang nagkaka-problem because we are in such a me era wherein we all want the spotlight to ourselves. And so when it comes to like if your intention is really just to get a brand's attention so that you get sponsored for it, dun na siya lalabas na parang I don't wanna paint people Nat's way because then they might look at Nat and not look at me, and I might miss out on any opportunity, diba? So lalabas dun na again the question is what is your intention behind going out on social media, behind getting the certification, behind calling yourself a yoga teacher or coach. Yeah, I think that's it. That's really how I see it.
Okay. So the stance there is, it's okay to credit, but what about those who may ganun bang case na parang, ay, hindi niya ako kinredit, ganun, or something like that?
Maraming ganun case.
Dami beses na magaya ng workout ko, no? But then,
about that.
Yeah, sometimes, you can test it. Random number lagay mo sa rep. Tingnan mo. Tapos i-justify mo na kasi something BS. Makikita mo, lalabas siya.
But it's really a case of not crediting. And it doesn't happen just in the fitness industry, even in the art industry. That happens all the time. Diba? So parang, if you think about it, we're not the only ones who are suffering from this problem. Parang every other industry that happens. And so for us, as teachers or coaches, if we put out our stuff and you see na, okay, ayan na, ginaya na siya, parang just be ready for that. Na someone's gonna take that. Someone's bound to take your original idea and then claim it as their own. And now it's your responsibility to move forward pa and like learn even more or like evolve in a sense how you put out your product or your content.
And I think it starts, and again, with us, the practitioners, to make notice of the lineage cool again. Because now, di ba nga, it's always me. But I'm proud that I come from like Leo Savage's, Rick Brown's lineage na parang yung mga nag-start talaga ng steel mace practice. And my coach who I've been taught the kettlebell for like years. So he's a very good friend and a very good coach. So I think it's more of that acknowledging who your teacher is.
Yes.
You don't always have to promote them.
Yeah.
Pero yung may nagtanong sa'yo, sasabihin mo kasino talaga. Or if it's, what do you call that?
It's kind of giving honor also.
Yeah, just giving honor.
Your practice, no?
Yeah. Walang mawawala sa'yo. And if hindi ikaw yung kunin niya na teacher or coach, then so be it. So be it, right? It's not like there are only like 5 clients in the ocean of fitness, right?
Yeah.
So,
I was thinking na, for example, someone went under you, but then there are also content online. So how can you track if sa'yo exactly nanggaling for that person to credit versus like he or she might have gotten it online? So, or in your case, by your experience, was it
I don't
like...
think there's a way.
Yeah. Actually, there's no way for us to track if they copied you. Alam mo na lang siya sa sarili mo. Na parang when I know someone has taken my work and done something so similar, and you know for a fact that it was from you, wala ka nang magagawa doon.
Yeah.
And there is, this has happened to me. I actually went through a lot just trying to accept the fact that people will just take your idea, something you worked so hard for, studied so hard for, and then they easily just take it and then make something out of it and pretend it's theirs and then put it out. I struggled with that for a while, but then I realized that period that I had to accept that, I lost so much time. Kung ginamit ko na lang sana yun to like come up with more things, to let go of that, because it's a known fact that if you make good work, you're bound to be copied. So that's like, isipin na lang natin na validation siya. Na parang, okay, you did something good because someone found it worthy of copying. So there you go.
What's that old saying? Imitation is the best form of flattery, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Although it's irritating, but what can you do?
Yeah, so what you can do na lang there is not focus too much on that, but improve yourself on how you can be better or differentiate yourself in a way. Okay.
Yes.
So we're down to a few more questions. So I just like to know how for you has the fitness industry evolved? Like what do you like and not like about it? Siguro now.
Wow.
That's a long list, dude.
It's a very deep rabbit hole. What do I like about it and what I do not like about it? Is that the question?
Yes. And how has it
evolved? Like I said, it's become such a me industry. That's what I don't like about it. It has evolved to something that's not healthy, ironically. Right?
Yeah.
It's not healthy anymore. I mean, this is not a sweeping claim, but you can see that it has turned to something that's promoting quite the opposite. Whether it's a very effed up mentality to things, and you can see through it, right? A teacher can see through it. Insecurities or negativity that person's trying to mask, right? Or if the person just wants to be followed, to get more endorsements. I mean, there's nothing wrong if that's your hustle, right? It's such a complex issue kasi when you start putting in the mask of a service industry.
Yes.
Right? Because you're technically robbing those who are certified to teach that thing, right? Indirectly, you're robbing them. Mm-hmm. And I think in summary, what I don't like about it, it's even in the form of overuse of or misuse of joints or a really bad mentality, how to approach things, or a non-fundamentals first approach. That's still part of being unhealthy. And what's beautiful about it is that we have a chance to still change it. We have our own voices and we have to start using it as teachers and coaches because it's so easy to be bogged down. I know we had that moment na parang, what is happening? It's like there's this collective energy of shift na it just bogged us down. There was this one thing that we couldn't shake off and we were just down the whole day. But then as a teacher, you have to remind yourself why you did it in the first place. And I know most of us started out of loving the practice. So I think we have to go back to why we did it in the first place. Because that's what I think inspires us to teach it. Because we want them to experience that level of, being awakened to that type of practice. And whether or not they like it or not, that's not anymore your problem. Then you move on to the people who would actually appreciate you as a coach, as a teacher, and to the craft that you teach.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go back to how I saw the industry evolve. So when I started working out, I was 12 years old and it was a shame. Like, at the time, kung nag-workout ka, ibig sabihin nagpapapayat ka. So bata pa ako noon and I had body issues. Like, just issues with myself. So it evolved to finally being okay when I got the job and was able to afford going to a yoga studio, it was finally okay to like work out and not have people judge you for moving or like trying to be better or healthier or fitter. Um, at the time, it wasn't so big yet. There were no fitness influencers. There was barely any social media. I even remember I have this photo in one of the Joy, Bliss Yoga. Have you ever? Ikaw, Car, have been Bliss Yoga.
Bliss?
Bliss Yoga, yeah, in Manila, in
Makati.
Makati.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was like my first vinyasa yoga studio, and I remember posting a photo on Instagram inside the Bliss Yoga Studio sa locker room. And I got so much comments from friends. They were like, oh my God, naka-sports bra ka lang. Nag-workout ka na naka-sports bra. So at the time, you know that it was like taboo or like hindi pa ready yung market. And then cut to me teaching yoga already. At the time then, I would like post my photos on my Instagram of my practice, but really just as a diary. So it was like more of a journal. Okay, I'll do this post today, and then 3 months later, I'll do it again, take the photo, and then see if mas maganda na ba yung dancer's post ko, or like my camel pose, or like, it was that. So that was when it just, from there, parang hindi ko na alam kung saan siya napunta. All of a sudden, everyone then was also posting it. It became big, not just here in the Philippines, but also in the US, na parang just posting your yoga photos. And then it evolved to like starting to share your workout, and then it evolved to like putting programs out on social media. So from sharing your workout to prescribing programs. And that last bit happened really fast. It was like in a span of like 2 years or less. That it just exploded, like the hashtag fitness exploded, and then it just became this whole business of getting brands to sponsor you. So the beautiful thing about that whole evolution of how fitness and wellness evolved in our country is that more people are getting into it, and it's no longer such an alienating thing, or like you don't get judged for working out anymore. But the bad thing about it is, yun yan, na-mention ni Nat, na from service, the intention changed. So if you started taking teacher training, or you started just taking that path as a coach, from I want to be able to help people and just, impact them in a positive sense. From that mindset, it's now I want to be a coach because then Nike or Adidas will sponsor me and I get free shoes. It's shifted to that, which is really sad because you can't really tell just based on profiles. You won't be able to tell who's doing what, and you don't know what their real intentions are. And there's nothing wrong with making money out of sponsorships because I do that. But then the difference becomes: is it really something that resonates with you? Does that brand fit you as a person, as an individual? And papasok pa din yung integrity eh. Yeah. And I feel like that's what's lacking because the newbies or the ones who are jumping into the fitness trend, seeing it from social media na ang ganda coordinated outfits or ang cool na parang pink on pink, yung mga ganyan. They see it for that. It's very superficial. So they get into it thinking that it's a glamorous lifestyle. But then they don't see the hard work that goes behind it, na parang the pagod that you feel after teaching a class because everyone just took your energy and you just gave it to them openly. Or like, for those who heal with their hands, like you guys, diba? Parang you have to ask yourself, are you really going into that? Do you see yourself touching people all day? Kasi ako personally, pag nagtuturo ako ng yoga class, I don't adjust so much because nauubos agad ako, especially if I know before I would teach 5 classes a day. And on my 3rd class, parang ayoko mag-assist kasi may 2 pa ako, baka maubos na. And literally, I would feel like I was gonna get sick after kasi talagang I give everything. So, yun yung nawala. And that's kasi not something that they see just based on Instagram eh. That's something that you decide that you want to do when you take a yoga class and then you see your teacher na, oh my gosh, she's so dedicated. And I feel like she just really takes the bad energy from me at the end of the day. So parang dun ka mag-decide na, do you want to do that? Are you ready to give people that energy?
After the day, you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Oh, that's true. True. Okay. Sige. Actually, I can relate parang before full-time din. So, parang sobrang naka-burnout, lalo na if, like you said nga, 5 classes a day. That's a lot. So, I guess we have 2 more questions before we end this episode. What would be your advice to students who are taking up a lot of fitness routines right now or looking for ways to just get fit and healthy? What would be your main advice for them?
Me?
For clients and
For the students who are thinking about fitness. They want to get into it.
I think if you're going to start out, you have to start by finding out what you like to do in the first place. Because it's like, yung uso yung boxing. Everyone wanted to go boxing because they say it was good for weight loss, which is good.
Yeah.
But the best workout or exercise program would be something that you'll be able to stick to. And coming from a teacher who knows what they're doing and actually care about you.
Yes.
So I think you have to do your research. And I just want to like bump it up a bit. Like what Nikki said, this is an ecosystem. Everyone should have the buy-in of what this really is, what this industry really is for. And if you're a coach or a teacher, you can be vocal about it. You can express yourself. You can promote your services and what you can offer. And also, if you own a brand, please perform due diligence with who you're going to see or going to give your products to, whatever, because it does hurt our industry.
Yeah.
In
Coming
a way.
from a marketer.
Coming from a marketer, it does hurt our industry. And it bogs down the confidence of real coaches because they're like, oh, why did that person get the sponsorship for something that they're not credible in? I mean, it doesn't mean that also magaling ka, dapat ka. It doesn't mean that way. It's just that you have to respect that this is a service industry. It's not just a made-up cloud to say that you're a coach. There are certain practices or scope of work that we are assigned to do. Hindi siya parang random na thing na, instructor siya. It doesn't end there. It's a service, and sadly, it is not regulated heavily here, but there are like private organizations that perform certain parang regulatory boards to make it better. But yeah, just everyone has to have that buy-in. Everyone should practice due diligence, whether you're an enthusiast, a teacher, a coach, a brand owner. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to just put it out there that we are here and we are standing firm in what we're doing. And this is not a joke.
Yeah.
This may be somewhat a passion project or something for you that you're passionate about, but that doesn't mean that there has no line to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So yeah.
Me, for the public who, like for example, if you're starting out and you want to just get fitter, or you want to get into yoga, or just try moving, try different types of movement first. So, magpa-plug ako yung NTSummerEquinox, pero hindi siya happening kasi with COVID. But what we do in NTSummerEquinox is I gather the top coaches that I know from different fields. Every weekend, my girls experience different workouts. So it's not me, not all me. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because I always tell them that you're here because I want to equip you with the knowledge that you need to make your own decision. So I don't have to like feed you just information that I want you to believe in. I want you to be able to think for yourself. Yeah. So the reason why I have them try different workouts is so that they find something that they love doing. Like, for example, if you took a pound class and you are just so excited to do it again, then maybe do it again. If you took like a kettlebell cardio workout and you found it too intense, it was too hard, parang ayaw mo na siyang ulitin, then maybe that's not the movement for you. Diba? So that's how you discover, that's how I discovered yoga. I've tried so many things before I realized that this is something that I can wake up to and do every day. And I think that goes for everyone. You have to take a sampler plate and then find what you like and then order that thing as like a whole serving next time. Diba? And that's how you're able to sustain it. Another thing is to start, if you can, financially, if you're financially able, invest in a studio membership, a gym membership, where there are professionals who can guide you. Kasi right now, ang nangyayari is the flip side din. You look online, and I'm guilty of this too. I follow DVDs before I started to invest, but that was because I didn't have money to sign up for a gym membership. Yeah, Taibo, hip-hop abs, ganyan. That's where we started. Yikes, what era?
Really black.
Yan na reveal.
Lumalabas yung age.
Ay, anak niya na yung nagtuturo.
Anyway. But yeah, so ang nangyayari kasi is syempre, you want to try it first. Okay, maybe you can try a few workouts on your own. But then if you find that you're serious about this and this is a lifestyle you want to sustain, then maybe start to invest. Because you only gain body awareness when someone points it out to you first. Like, feeling mo ang galing mo na because you're following, Pop Sugar Fitness on YouTube. So that's one of the big things, apart from Chloe thing. But when you just go online and you're like, eto, full program na free, there's a chance that you never know what you're doing wrong because Chloe on YouTube will never be able to tell you because she doesn't see you. Diba? So you want someone to be able to tell you if you're doing it right first before you decide na, okay, I can have a self-practice. I can do this on my own at home now because I already have that level of body awareness. I have friends who have trained with a personal coach, with a personal trainer first for like a year. Tapos, siya sila bumili ng sarili nilang kettlebell at home. And then they started their own practice there. But every now and then, they would still consult because that's how you progress. If you keep doing something based off on your social media feed, your Instagram feed, or YouTube, you will never progress because you're just going to go around in circles. Because no one's guiding you towards the next step. So that's like I know it's like ang bayan gagastos pa ay may free naman. But then if you're serious about it, you'd be willing to invest.
Got it. So what I got from that is find what resonates with you. Know that yung proper intention then separating of course the business and then the service industry also, and then finding also a mentor or someone to guide you who's credible in that certain field. Okay, so we want to close this actually with one question that we usually ask our guests at the end of the podcast, or in this case the video also. How do you guys grit and then how do you guys ground?
Oh, okay. I grit through my practice on the kettlebell and sometimes the steel mix. It depends on the intention I put to it. It could be like a strength and conditioning style. And how I ground myself is through mobility, movement, close on the ground, literally on the ground. There's nothing more humbling than the ground for me. And I think that's how I root my energy, which is like on the ground. Did that make sense? I don't know. That makes sense.
Absolutely, we gotcha. We yoga teachers gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I grit when I started involved any external weight. So my favorite is a kettlebell. And that's even before I met Nat. Not because of Nat, but even before I met her. yeah, so once I start to involve any external weight or like ramp up the speed of my movement or like the intensity of my movement, that's how I turn up the grit. But that's not always because I'm a very like yin person. Yeah, in terms of my movement. Pero like my friends would always tell me I'm like yang in attitude. But yun nga, I'm like the exact opposite. My yin is obviously my yoga practice, which also turns into a yang depending on my mood. But that's what I do more often. And the most grounding thing I do is not move at all and not looseness. Like the most grounding thing is not moving at all. Shavasana, meditation, sound healing. That's it. That's my kind of thing.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing so much your insights, and yeah, it's been a very interesting talk with you guys. I know first time natin actually nakausap isa't isa.
Yeah, I feel that we can talk for like half a day if we didn't have to stop.
Yeah, like I said, it's a rabbit
So much. Yeah.
I only catch at light before.
Yeah.
Pero super short lang, diba?
I know. So very slightly tip of the iceberg. I know there's a lot of things and stuff to talk about. But thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything you wanna say, Joy, just to close also?
No, just really, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the openness that you know, Nat and Nikki, you have. I mean, like Nikki, you have like 23,000 followers on Instagram, and she just told everyone how she got to that point. You're wondering, right? And then, you know, just go into Nat's Instagram and you got some flows and, you know, you got some gritting and some grounding in their feed, right? So it's so nice and it's so refreshing that even though we're again from different backgrounds, we do lots of stuff. And that's what Grit and Ground is all about. You know, we want to have the people know about you can do this and this and this, and it's not for other people to decide but you. Find something that's sustainable, that you know that you love, and go back to your roots and why. Thank you for highlighting all of these things and more, Nat and Nikki, and for sharing your insights and for that more than 1 hour conversation. Thank you so much.
And this is Grit and Ground. So thank you guys again, and I hope you are all well.
Be well, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.